There's a massive sentiment about Fortnite that anybody can go pro, and if you just grind hard enough and try hard enough, at any ping, at any skill level, somebody's done it before. But this is simply just not true, and I wanted to go over, like, people just get slandered for making excuses about high ping. But even if you are on 0 ping, it can just not be about the grind. You could be grinding 12 hours a day and still not go pro. And I think a lot of people don't underestimate how many people are trying to go pro at the moment. There's hundreds of thousands of people trying to go pro. And things like basketball and stuff, there's less people trying to go pro, but more pro basketball players. So in a sense, being a pro Fortnite player is harder than it being a pro basketball player. Not in the physical sense, but statistically. Which means the people who actually do go pro are going to be the top of the shelf. The best genetics, the best everything, because there's always going to be people with a large scale of people trying. There's always going to be people with better genetics that are doing the exact same thing as you. Let's say they're playing 12 hours a day and they have good genetics. They're going to be insane compared to you being 12. And trying to be in the top 100 or 200 people is almost impossible when there's just such a big scale of people trying. Unless you are the top good genetics, while people with like good genetics but not great can get to that semi-pro level if they grind and grind and grind, or they can get to the semi-pro level on high ping or something like that. There, you have to kind of have everything line up. You kind of gotta be an amazing player, a smart player, have the genetics for it, and have the good ping and everything. So while people can do well on high ping, and they point out people like Aviv and stuff, but it's kind of silly argument, because it's like, let's say a person like Steph Curry could win a basketball game with one hand. It doesn't mean any Joe Schmo could spend 12 hours a day every day and win a game with one hand. When somebody's so good at the game that they can overcome the ping, a lot of it's because of their reaction speed, aim, and other things like that. And like me, if you look at me, I just tested my reaction speed. I had a 150 ms reaction speed, which is crazy, and is like at the edge of pro level. Like, it's normally from 150 to 100, but I definitely could probably go pro if I grinded 12 hours a day and had lower ping. And it wouldn't even take a massive ping level, but it would also take the grinding and everything. And depending on your genetics, depending on everything else, it depends on how much time you have to put in. For example, if Peterbot put less time into the game, he would still be crazy at the game and still probably be pro. He could maybe be top 50 instead of top 1 by putting in a few hours a day. But say I put in 12 hours a day, I'm still not going to be able to be as good as him, because he was born with 50 milliseconds faster than me, and he was born, or he's in a location that has 0 ping. So if you combine the reaction speed difference and, let's say, my 50 ping that I normally have, that's 100 milliseconds difference that they have time to kind of start. So they basically, their game is moving 100 milliseconds faster in their mind. And that's just like a massive difference. And this isn't saying that you can't improve your reaction speed or aim or anything like that, but it's just saying that there's so many people playing the game that there's going to be somebody with better genetics than you doing the exact same thing already. So you can't really compete with them because they're just going to be better. So you could be very good at the game and still just not go pro because there's just that many people trying. And I think back in the old days when there was more people that could go pro, when top 200 and stuff was making earnings and stuff, like those were the days where anybody could basically go pro if you had like a semi-decent, if you were under a 40 ping. And the game's skill cap has even gotten even harder because of these instant swap guns, which I do like a lot, and it makes the game really fun. It's just, it does add another level of skill with Peterbot phase in and stuff, and a lot of those things can just be worked on, which is a great thing for me. But it's just keeps adding on to, because even if I am working on this stuff, there's also going to be somebody else working on it too that already is better. So it's going to be like, even if I move myself up, they're also going to be moving themselves up at this point. And it wouldn't really matter because a lot of times you can just outgrind people and out stuff, but when there's millions of people trying, there's going to be at least one of them or at least 100 of them that are grinding the same thing. And at some point you can definitely outwork your issues, but it's just how much issues you have. Because let's say one person might not have ADHD, or person like me has a processing issue. Things just stack and stack and stack. 50 ping stacks on it, and you just can't go pro at that point. I think the greatest real world example of this is, there's a lot of people who get on the game and try to be good at the game, and some people just end up being the zero build AIs that can't do anything, and some people just get on and they're just crazy at the game. So it's basically, whenever there's a new game out, you kind of see the difference, because a pro moving from one game to another is going to be a pro in that game too, because their reaction speed, just like Benji fishing and stuff, their reaction speed, their aim, everything's just better because they're born that way. And well, it sucks, and some people use it as an excuse, but in some ways you shouldn't put all your things in one bag, and you kind of know if you can do it or not. Like, I knew if I could go pro or not, like, after I optimized everything. Once I had my PC, once I got 240 FPS, once I fixed some other issues with my keyboard and everything, I knew what I needed to do to go pro. And I needed like lower ping, and I needed better aim and everything. I knew it would be possible if I moved to Dallas and if I grinded every day, but I decided that it wasn't worth it, and that's okay. And I think it's okay to go a different way, and you can be a content creator, you can do whatever. It's not just to give up and not do anything. It's just, what are you willing to give up, and if it's even possible. Because with my reaction speed, 150 is not a bad reaction speed. I used to have like 190 before I started working at it, and I worked at it for a few years, and I got better, and you can see the difference. But it doesn't matter if somebody started at 150, then they're just going to end at 120 or 100. So it's just like, there's so many people competing that you just lose, and it's fine. There's other ways to go, and there's other things to do, and you shouldn't be mean to people who do this. If people are putting in the work, no matter how they end up, you should still be nice to them, and I think that's half the issue. And maybe pushing them, not being mean to say and telling them to quit the game, but maybe telling them maybe this isn't for you, and maybe you should try to content creation or something else like that. And that's really the thing, is it doesn't even matter if you're the greatest at the game, if you're able to live off the game. And it really doesn't matter. Cypher PK is not the greatest at the game because he's making more money than you. So, and yeah, guys, that's basically my full argument. It meant so much that you guys stuck by. Hopefully this will never change how you act or anything. Just make sure you don't put everything in one basket if you're not fully confident. For example, if I'm already in Div 2, almost qualifying to Div 1 without full grinding, then I think you should full grind and try to go pro. But if you just got to Div 2, or you're struggling in Div 3, and you've been playing the game for over a year and a half, you kind of know that unless you switch to zero ping, or something big has to happen, or you're just doing something so wrong, then it might just be not for you. And I think I pushed a lot of people to try to be content creators, because I think it's literally like living off a game and not being the greatest at the game because you're just entertaining is just such a great feeling, because you don't need to prove yourself by just being good at the game. You have the outcome, you have the money, you have the channel and everything to just prove that, like, I did something. And I don't know, that's really it, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. We've been live streaming on TikTok like every day at this point. I love it so much. I was averaging like 5 viewers playing COD and stuff, and playing with viewers and stuff. If anybody wants to drop by, we do some great proximity chat trolling and everything. I'll put the link in the chat. No more streaming on Twitch because this is becoming so successful. So please stop by. Hopefully we'll have another good stream tonight. And thank you guys so much for being there. And I hope you guys have an amazing night, and you guys always stay positive, because I think that's a great part. And whether you're struggling or doing well in life, no matter what happens, just be positive and keep going through it, and maybe something crazy could happen one day. So thank you guys, and have an amazing night.